America's energy infrastructure faces four main problems: a crumbling electrical grid, a profound demand in energy but dwindling supply, and the fact that a potential lackadaisical laborer could hold the fate of a catastrophic power outage, millions of dollars lost, or even more astonishing, the probability of a domestic, unexpected cyber attack that could cripple the United States energy grid.
How would you rate our energy system? What grade would you give it? A+, the most efficient in the world; B+, among the most reputable in the world; C+, average in a world growing more energy dependent; D+, the status of a developing nation; F, completely dysfunctional compared to the rest of the world. Astoundingly, the American Society of Civil Engineers puts the current rating of the United States energy system at a D+. Why this D+, you might ask? The status of a developing nation? How could this happen under the leadership of any Congress?
Some stats on the current U.S. electrical grid and its needs. This current system dates back to the 1880s. $673 billion in investments is needed by 2020, $11 billion in annual increase over current investments, and service interruptions are projected to cost about $197 billion by 2020.
Our country's energy grid is more than 100 years old. The average power line and transformer is older than 25 years, and the average power plant is over 30 years. Plus, the grid was designed to carry smaller loads, while Americans today are increasing their demand for energy. Why risk a hurricane event causing a vulnerable energy grid to fall apart? 680 power outages occurred between 2003 and 2012 due to climate changes such as hurricanes. These outages led to $33 billion lost annually. The United States spends $14 billion on energy annually and consumes 1/5 of the world's energy usage. Despite the grid's many technological marvels, the only way most operators know that the power is out is when you call them on the telephone. In this day and age, that's simply not good enough. But it's hardly surprising given the chronic lack of investment in the grid.
Part of it is not so much what it would cost, because a lot of things are just in the matter of ordinary course of doing routine maintenance. We simply haven't made the reinvestment in the grid in many years.
Weather events aren't the only mishaps that could affect our energy. A careless shovel could rupture an oil or gas pipe. We have faced many attacks from multiple countries by spies trying to penetrate our electricity grid. These spies have left behind software that has the potential of disrupting our system. These attacks cost millions of dollars to correct.
A report in today's Wall Street Journal says sophisticated hackers have planted software programs that could disrupt electric service.
What we're seeing today is prepping the battlefield for 21st century warfare.
Sophisticated hackers, many sponsored by Russia and China, are daily attacking the computer systems of critical government and private facilities, everything from the Pentagon to nuclear power plants.
Sometimes our electrical grid gets overloaded. When this happens, a mandatory blackout occurs. California faced a mandatory blackout in 2000, which lasted no longer than an hour. However, businesses lost millions of dollars during the process. How can Congress accept this developing nation low standard?
The challenge we have in the electricity grid, as anybody who lives in the eastern part of the United States has recognized in the last few months, is that the grid itself is very susceptible to storms, other kinds of power interruptions, catastrophic outages such as cascading electricity blackouts, or even things like cyber terrorism or physical terrorism.
Real crisis in our grid, and this is why, despite being a superpower, we have a grid that is comparable to a third world country, and that's not right.
Energy affects so many other units of infrastructure. For example, if we didn't have power, we would be without water also. We would lose sanitation, good health, cooking, and the care for infants and the elderly would be impacted. The energy infrastructure is one of the most important priorities for an industrial world-class democracy, since so many are dependent upon it to operate successfully.
How will Congress stop the crumbling energy infrastructure in America? How will Congress harness the supply and demand of energy in America? How will Congress stop the wasting of taxpayer dollars on careless energy mistakes? How will Congress protect our infrastructure from devastating cyber attacks? How will Congress raise us from a D+ to an A+? The answer rests with our representatives, and we expect action.